Well, this is a story about Alice and Alice's restaurant. The name of the restaurant isn't Alice's Restaurant, but it belongs to Alice, and that's why I called the song Alice's Restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Walk right in, it's around the back, just about a mile from the railroad tracks. Yeah, you can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Now, it all started 2 Thanksgivings ago. Well, it was 2 years ago on Thanksgiving when my friend and I went up to visit Alice at the restaurant. But Alice doesn't live in the restaurant. She lives in a church nearby the restaurant, and in the bell tower with her husband and Ray and her fascist dog. And living in the bell tower like that, they got a lot of extra room downstairs where the pews used to be. Having all that room, seeing how as they took out all the pews, they decided that they didn't need to have to take out their garbage for a long time. Well, we got there and found all the garbage in there, and we decided that it'd be a friendly gesture for us to take the garbage down to the city dump. So we took the half a ton of garbage, put it in the back of a red VW microbus, took shovels and rakes and implements of mass destruction, and headed on down towards the city dump. Well, when we got there was a big sign and chain across the dump saying, "Closed on Thanksgiving." Now, we had never heard of a dump being closed on Thanksgiving before, and with tears in our eyes, we drove off into the sunset looking for another place to put the garbage. Well, we didn't find one until we came to a side road, and off the side road of the side road was another 15-foot cliff, and at the bottom of the cliff there was another pile of garbage. And we decided that one big pile is better than 2 little piles, and rather than bring that one up, we decided to throw ours down. And that's what we did. Drove back to the church and had a Thanksgiving dinner that couldn't be beat, went to sleep, and didn't get up until the next morning, when we got a call from Officer Obi. He said, "Kid, we found your name on an envelope at the bottom of a half a ton of garbage. I just wanted to know if you had any information about it." And I said, "Yes, sir, Officer Obi, I cannot tell a lie. I put that envelope under that garbage." After speaking to Obi for about 45 minutes on the telephone, we finally arrived at the truth of the matter and said that, well, we had to go down and pick up the garbage, and also had to go down and speak to him at the police officer's station. So we got in the red VW microbus with shovels and rakes and implements of mass destruction, headed on down towards the police officer's station. Now, friends, there was one of 2 things that Obi could have done at the police station. And the first was he could have given us a medal for being so brave and honest on the telephone, well, which wasn't very likely. We didn't expect it. And the other thing was that he could have bawled at us and told us never to be seen driving garbage around the vicinity again, which is what we expected. But when we got to the police officer station, there was a third possibility we hadn't even counted on. And we both were immediately arrested, handcuffed. And I said, "Obi, I don't think I can pick up the garbage with these handcuffs on." He said, "Shut up, kid. Get in the back of the patrol car." And that's what we did. We sat in the back of the patrol car and drove to the, quote, scene of the crime, unquote. I want to tell you about a town like Stockbridge, Massachusetts, where this all happened here. They got 3 stop signs, 2 police officers, and 1 police car. But when we got to the scene of the crime, there was 5 police officers, 3 police cars, being the biggest crime of the last 50 years. And everybody wanted to get in the newspaper story about it. And they was using up all kinds of cop equipment that they had hanging around the police station. They was taking plaster tire tracks and footprints and dog-smelling prints, and they took 27 8x10 color glossy photographs with circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back of each one explaining what each one was to be used as evidence against us. Took the pictures of the approach, the getaway in the northwest corner and the southwest corner, and not to mention the aerial photography. Now, after the ordeal, we went back to the jail. Obi said he was going to put us in a cell. Kid, I'm going to put you in the cell. I want your wallet and your belt. And I said, Obie, I can understand you want my wallet so I don't have any money to spend in the cell, but what do you want my belt for? And Obie said he was making sure that, friends, I don't want no hanging. He didn't want me to hang. Obie, I can understand you want it. And the kid, well, I said, you don't think I was going to hang myself for littering? Obie said he was making sure, and that, well, friends, he took out the toilet seat so I couldn't hit myself over the head and drown, and he took out the toilet paper so I couldn't bend the bars, roll the roll out the toilet paper window, and slide down off the roll and escape. Obie was making sure, and it was about 4 or 5 hours later that Alice, you remember Alice? It's a song about Alice. Alice came by and with a few nasty words to Obie on the side, bailed us out of jail, and we went back to the church. Had another Thanksgiving dinner that couldn't be beat, and didn't get up again until the next morning when we all had to go to court. We walked in, sat down. Obie came in with the 27 8x10 color glossy pictures with circles and arrows and a paragraph in the back of each one, and sat down. A man came in and said, all rise. We all stood up, and Obie stood up with the 27 8x10 color glossy pictures, and the judge walked in and sat down with the seeing eye dog. And he sat down, and we sat down. Obie looked at the seeing eye dog, and then at the 27 8x10 color glossy pictures with circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back of each one telling what it was going to use to incriminate us, and he began to cry. Because he was coming to the realization that this was a typical case of American blind justice, and there wasn't nothing he could do about it. And the judge wasn't going to look at the 27 8x10 color glossy pictures with the circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back of each one explaining what each one was to be used as evidence against us. And we was fined $50 and had to pick up the garbage in the snow, but that's not what I came to talk to you about. Came to talk to you about the draft. They got a building down in New York City. It's called Whitehall Street, where you walk in, get injected, inspected, detected, infected, neglected, and selected. I went down there to get my physical examination one day, and I walked in and sat down, got good and drunk the night before. So I looked and felt my best when I went in that morning, because I wanted to look like the all-American kid from New York City. Man, I wanted to feel like I wanted to be the all-American kid from New York City. And I walked in and sat down. I was hung down, brung down, hung up, and all kinds of mean and nasty, ugly things. And when I walked in and sat down, and they gave me a piece of paper and said, kid, see the psychiatrist, room 604. And I went up there and I said, shrink, I want to kill. I want to kill. I want to see blood and gore and guts and veins in my teeth and eat dead, burnt pie. Kill. And I started jumping up and down, yelling, kill. And he started jumping up and down with me, and we were both jumping up and down and yelling, kill. And the sergeant came in, piddle metal on me, and set me down the hall and said, you're our boy. Didn't feel too good about it. Proceeded down the hall, getting more injections and inspections and detections and neglections and all kinds of stuff that they was doing to me. At the thing there, it was about 2, 3, 4 hours. And I was there a long time, going through all kinds of means and nasty, ugly things, and just having a tough time. And when they was inspecting and injecting in every single part of me, they was leaving no part untouched. Proceeded, when I finally see the very last man, I walked in and I sat down. And after a whole big thing there, I walked up and he said, what do you want? He said, kid, we only got one question. Have you ever been arrested? I proceeded to tell him the story of Alice's Restaurant Massacre with 1 orchestration and 5 fun harmonies and stuff like that and all the fun. And he stopped me and he said, listen, kid, did you ever go to court? And I proceeded to tell him the story of the 27 8x10 color glossy pictures with the circles and the arrows and the paragraph on the back of each one. And he stopped me and he said, look, you kid, I want you to go and sit down there on that bench that says Group W. Now, kid. And I walked over to the bench there. There's Group W, where they put you if you may not be moral enough to join the army after committing your special crime. And there was all kinds of mean and nasty, ugly people on the bench there. There was mother rapers, father stabbers, father rapers, father rapers sitting right there on the bench next to me, and they was mean and nasty and ugly and horrible and crime type guys sitting on the bench next to me, and the meanest, nastiest, ugliest one came up to me, the meanest father raper of them all, and he said, in his ugly, nasty, horrible, and all kinds of things, and he sat down next to me and he said, "Kid, what'd you get?" I said, "I didn't do nothing. I had to pay $50 and pick up the garbage." He said, "What were you arrested for, kid?" And I said, "Littering." And they all moved away from me on the bench there, and the hairy eyeball and all kinds of mean and nasty things, till I said, "And creating a nuisance." And they all came back and shook my hand, and we had a great time on the bench, talking about crime and mother stabbing and father raping and all kinds of groovy things, and we was talking on that bench. And everything was fine. We was smoking cigarettes until the sergeant came over and had some kind of paper in his hand, held it up and said, "Kid, this piece of paper's got 47 words, 37 sentences, 58 words. We don't want to know details of the crime and any other kind of thing you got to say pertaining to this and about the crime, and I want to know arresting officer's name and any other kind of thing you got to say." And they talked for 45 minutes, and nobody understood a word that he said, and he had fun filling out the forms and playing with the pencils on the bench there, and I filled out the massacre with the 4-part harmony and wrote it down there just like it was. Everything was fine. I put down the pencil and turned over the piece of paper, and there on the other side, in the middle of the other side, away from everything else on the other side, in parentheses, in capital letters, quoted, read the following words: "Kid, have you rehabilitated yourself?" I went over to the sergeant and I said, "Sergeant, you've got a goddamn lot of gall to be asking me if I've rehabilitated. I mean, I'm just that. I'm sitting on the bench. I'm sitting here on the Group W bench because you want to know if I'm moral enough to join the army, burn women, kids, houses, and villages after being a litter bug?" He looked at me and said, "Kid, we don't like your kind, and we're going to send your fingerprints off to Washington." And friends, somewhere in Washington, enshrined in some little folder in a study in black and white of my fingernails. And the only reason I'm singing you this song now is because you know somebody in a similar situation, or you may be in a similar situation. And if you're in with a shrink, wherever you are, just walk in and say, when the guitar comes back around, we'll sing it. Yeah, and here, that's right. We're gonna say around. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. And walk out. And if just one person does it, they may think he's sick and they won't take it. If two people do it in harmony, they may think they're both faggots and they won't take either one of them either. But if 3 people do it, you can imagine 3 people walking in, singing a single bar of Alice's restaurant and walking out. They may think it's an organization, and can you imagine 50 people a day? I said 50 people a day walking in, singing a bar of Alice's restaurant and walking out. And friends, they may think it's a movement, and that's what it is. The Alice's Restaurant Anti-Massacre Movement, and all you got to do to join is sing in the next time it comes around on the guitar with feeling. So we'll wait for it. Come around, here it comes. Well, when it does, yeah, here it comes. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Walk right in, it's around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad track. Yeah, you can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. That was horrible. You do want to end war and stuff, don't you? I've been singing this song now for 25 minutes. I can sing it for another 25 minutes if I'm not proud or tired. Or wait till it comes around again. This time, put your feeling into it, everybody. Okay, here it comes. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant, except in Alice. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Walk right in, it's around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad track. Yeah, you can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. Da 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 dum dum dum. Alice's restaurant. I get to the end of it and it says, second fret capo. Ah, great.